Grants for the self-employed. This video looks into the grants for the self-employed. Now it's filmed at the end of March 2021, so that at that time there are 2 more grants that the government are going to give for the self-employed. Now when I'm talking about self-employed, I'm talking about people who are actually self-employed, sole traders and partners, not people who have their own company, because they are not included in that. So we're looking at the grants for the self-employed, and the rules do change compared to the previous grants. So keep watching and I'll explain how they work. I do weekly videos about tax and accounting issues, so if you want to be kept up to date, then please subscribe to the channel, and if you press the like button, it really helps the channel, and I'll be interested to know what you think about the videos, or if you've got any questions, and I'll look at those in the comments section. So grants for the self-employed. So we're now looking at the 4th and the 5th grant, and both of those are different to each other. And also different to the previous grants. So how are they different? Well, the previous grants were based on the 2019 tax return, so your tax return for the 5th of April 2019, which is now getting pretty historic. And that was considered to be quite unfair, because people who just set up in business when we came into the virus attack, they were excluded from it. So what they're doing, they brought that up to date. So now you're looking at people who filed their tax return up to the 5th of April 2020, and you must have filed your tax return by the 2nd of March 2021. That is more than a month after the actual due date, but you must have done it before, as I say, the 2nd of March. So if you've done that, there are some other things you must do. So you're in previous grants, half of your income would have to have been from self-employment. So if you've got rental and you've got interest and you've got salary, all of those things added together had to be less than your self-employed income, and that remains the same. But the years have changed, so if you complied previously, you might not comply now, and vice versa. So the rules are now include the year 2019-20. So that might mean that people who couldn't claim in the past can now claim. So that hopefully is good news. And the other thing, so the amount that you get had previously been the same all the way through. Now that changes, because it'll be based on the 3 years to the 5th of April 2020, or if you've been trading for a shorter time, that all gets shortened. But for people who've been trading for a long time, it's for the 3 years to 2020 rather than 3 years to 2019. So that means the amounts will change. But other things remain the same, so that if your income is over 50,000, then you are excluded from it. So you need to just to be aware of that. And again, it is possible that some people will be included, some people will be excluded as a result of the change in the relevant years. So for the first grant, now the rules are a little bit different for the 4th grant compared to the 5th grant. So for the 4th grant, it is for a 3-month period, and you'll be able to claim that between the end of April 2021 and the end of May, the last day of May 2021. They haven't actually said when it opens, but they have said when it closes. So that will be the window, and then the 5th one will be later in the year. And actually, peculiar, although it is like a 3-month grant, the second or the 5th one will be for a 5-month period, so it takes you all the way through to the end of the year, and it's effectively a tapering of the grants, which is similar to the tapering of the furlough scheme. So they're sort of it's fair between the two, if you like. So some of the other things that you just need to make sure that you've covered off is that you should have suffered a reduction in your prospects and turnover, or likely to have been, during in order to claim. So you can't claim it if your business is actually better than it was previously, and that would be right that you shouldn't be able to do that, of course. You've got to have actually been trading in 2020. So if you did cease to trade in the year ending 5th of April 2020, then you actually can't claim the first one, and you have to be trading in the year ending the following year, 2021, in order to claim the second one. So they do expect a continuation of your trade. There are a couple of peculiarities. What they're saying is that if you're not eligible on your 5th of April 2020 tax return, they'll look to previous returns, and the actual mechanics of that have not been set out. Here we are at the end of March, they have not been set out yet, so we don't know exactly what they mean by that. So I'll keep you posted as more information is found out. So again, if you subscribe to the channel, we'll try to keep it all as current as I can as information, new information comes in. The other thing that they're saying, I'll just get the wording right, it's Preverification. Preverification, that's an interesting concept, isn't it? So they want to make sure that you have been affected by it, particularly for the 5th grant. So for the 5th grant, they are wanting to make sure that your revenue has been reduced, particularly, and they said pre-verification. So they're going to choose some people. I don't know whether it's 1 in 100 or 1 in 10. I do not know, but some people will be chosen for pre-verification. So when you fill in the base information, they could ask you to scan to them your bank statements to show that your revenue has actually gone down. So that sounds like a level of verification that's way beyond what we've had before. But as I say, I don't know the actual volumes that they're going to be dealing with. I'd imagine that they would be trying to target certain trades. So if you're a restaurant, then it's very clear that your trade, up until now, has been severely affected. But maybe once the restaurants are open, they'll be very busy. If you're a gym, obviously you've got no trade. Whereas if you're a plumber and you're saying that your trade is down by 30%, I think that they might want to look at that. Maybe that's what they're doing. But I am really just guessing and trying to think about how I would go about it if I was the revenue. Now for the 4th grant, it's set at 80% of your revenue up to a maximum of £7,500 per 3-month period for the 3-month period, which is similar level to previous ones, although it's based on different figures. For the second one, it splits in two. So for people who've had a 30% reduction in their turnover, then you'll get the same. So you get, say, the same maximums. But if your revenue hasn't gone down by 30%, it's maybe just a little bit down, then you won't get 80%, you'll get 30%. So you will have much less money from the government. So it'll be a very steep taper for that last one, but still a substantial amount. Another little interesting thing, what's interesting for me as an accountant thing, is that they specifically said that there will be a box on your tax return where you've got to put the grant money into your tax return. So you'll actually have a specific thing. So they will be able to check the grant money that you've received against what you're saying you put on your tax return. So they will be able to marry the two up. So that's one to be really careful of. I don't know, we will be asking clients very carefully to make sure that we get all that grant money onto the tax returns to make sure they're correct. The last thing we want is an inquiry about the very money that the revenue itself has given our clients. How that would be, it would just be embarrassing. But I think it's really easy to miss, because when you ask for the grant money, you give a bank account, and I think for most people they'll put their private bank account on, or their joint account with their spouse, but that might be different to their business bank account. And of course, we as accountants, when we get your stuff at the end of the year, we'll get your business bank account, and it would be so easy to miss something that's going on into your private bank account. And so I think great care needs to be taken. We'll be doing our best to ask that question. But if you're not one of our clients, or if you're if you just your own tax return, or if you've got another account, you just got to be really careful that your grant money goes onto your tax return. I have said enough. So there we go. Those are the grants for the self-employed. And who would have thought it, that here we are at the end of March 2021, and there are still 2 more grant payments that the self-employed will receive. And there will be substantial for a lot of people. The rules are changing. They're changing compared to the previous grants, and that each of the 2 remaining ones, the rules are different to each other, as it is tapered away as we get towards, hopefully, the end of all this nonsense. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you've got any questions, then please put them in the comments below, or contact me or one of my team. Please subscribe to the channel. You'll be very welcome, and I will keep you up to date as more information is given to us. And if you press the like button, it just helps the channel and helps get the message across to more people, because I think these are important messages that materially affect people's understanding of their tax at a time of great change. Thank you.